And as we continue our conversation about the president's speech on Afghanistan last night, we are joined by Representative Scott Rigell, Republican of Virginia, first-term member of Congress, and he serves on the Armed Services and Homeland Security Committees. Congressman Rigell, if you would, give us your assessment of what the president had to say last night and your view.
Well, Peter, thank you for having me on the show. It was appropriate that the president addressed the American people last night. I think the killing of bin Laden was a pivotal moment, and let me state first where I agree with the president. I certainly agree and have long held the view that we cannot permit Al-Qaeda to plan, train for, and execute terrorist attacks from Afghanistan. I have also long held the view that I think it's unwise and also unnecessary for a commander-in-chief to announce far in advance changes in troop levels, especially troop levels that are being reduced.
So, as far as you're concerned, announcing by the end of 2012 23,000 more troops on top of the 10,000 and ending combat operations in 2014 sends a signal?
I think so, and I think it's, if you look back at American history, it's only been in the last several decades that we started to announce, where we're going with troop levels. I think it sends information to the enemy that we do not need to send.
But at the same time, do you agree that the U.S. should end combat operations in Afghanistan?
Well, I believe this, that this is a defining moment for us in Afghanistan. And there, as I see it, really two alternatives before us. The present course, which indisputably, in my view, includes nation building. I was there recently, and I so respect our troops, and I have the great privilege of representing so many in Virginia's 2nd Congressional District. But they're doing a wonderful job. But if you look at our mission there, I think there's been a great expansion of the original mission. The original mission was to bring those who attacked us on 9/11 to justice. And I believe that's largely been accomplished. They're either dead or they're in Guantanamo. But we have morphed into a nation-building endeavor. And, we're in a country that is, I think, the second poorest country in the world. Endemic corruption is rampant. It's throughout the society. You got those tribal loyalties that often run much deeper than the national identity. And for a host of reasons, including the porous border with Pakistan, it's a profound, challenging place to try to change the hearts and the minds and the beliefs of the Afghan people. And so for that reason, I think that we should, in the shortest time that we can reasonably and wisely do so, extricate ourselves from that country and go into a different form, a different method to disrupt and dismantle Al-Qaeda, not only in Afghanistan, because they're mobile, and they're in Yemen and, of course, in other countries.
So what is that different method, Congressman?
Well, I think it shifts to, and these in some ways, Peter, I think these are shades of gray, and good and reasonable people can disagree over how we accomplish this. I don't question the motives of those who disagree with me. My colleagues, some Republican colleagues, and some Democrat colleagues. But I think going to what I might refer to as a minimalist approach, it is, our objective is simply this, to focus in on Al-Qaeda, to use our advantages that we have in drone technology, to have a presence of special forces, certainly to continue a presence of the CIA, frankly not at the option of the Afghan government unless and until they can demonstrate that they can do the same themselves, that is, disrupt Al-Qaeda. But it is a minimalist approach versus what I saw, which is a noble endeavor. But Peter, we have some of our effort there is we are having classes on how to train senior Afghan leaders essentially in morality, that corruption is wrong. And we're spending money at the extreme on carpets for mosques, not mosques that we damaged, but just to build goodwill with local imams. I think this is unwise, and I don't think it's necessary. I think that to believe that we can change the hearts and minds of the Afghan people, an ancient society, is that takes it's quite a stretch for me, and I'm not sure it's required to protect the American people.
The House Armed Services Committee, of which you are a member, is holding a hearing today. What is the focus of that hearing, Congressman? And we're going to get to your phone calls in just a minute.
The purpose of that is to, assess where we go in Afghanistan. And there's a spirited and robust debate taking place, as there should be. I believe that there's unanimity and full agreement on our unwillingness as the American people to allow al-Qaeda to roam freely and to, again, kind of reconstitute. But this larger effort that we're a part of, I don't think is necessary. And let me make this point, though. I think this is critical. The sacrifice has been made by so many, and I have the great privilege to represent, I think, the highest concentration of men and women in uniform of any district in America, active duty and retired. And their families, that has not been in vain. We have been safe for almost 10 years now from a terrorist attack. And we will not declare victory in the traditional sense. My father and his generation marched across the islands in the Pacific. It was a different war, and victory was defined differently. In asymmetric warfare, what we're engaged in now, victory is I think it's more described as a continuous disruption of transnational terrorists. It's not taking over a country. And so in that sense, and the death of bin Laden, we can, I truly believe, declare victory in that sense, so long as we continuously disrupt them, not only in Afghanistan, but across the world.
Defense Undersecretary Michelle Flournoy will be testifying at your hearing, as will Joint Chiefs Chairman Mike Mullen. That hearing is at 10 a.m. this morning. We will be covering it on C-SPAN, not live because the House and Senate are in session, but you will be able to see it later on this evening. Now to your phone calls on the President's plan for Afghanistan. James in Tallahena, Oklahoma, on our Republican line. You're on with Congressman Scott Rigell.
Hello.
Please
Good
go
morning,
ahead, James.
Yeah, it didn't work in the 80s when we were over there teaching the Taliban how to shoot Russian gunships out of there. It ain't going to work now.
Thank you, James. I believe your statement is in support of the comments that I made earlier. If that's not the case, maybe you can call back in. But I believe that this more limited mission, just defeating al-Qaeda itself, and not the broader mission. We're spending over $3 billion in USAID. Now, keep in mind that the entire national budget of Afghanistan is $1.5 billion. So we are flooding. I'd say that the country can't even take the amount of investment. You can't even logistically handle a $3+ billion investment in 1 year in different projects across the country. And I say that with the utmost respect for our civilians. They are in some ways, in some sense, at as much risk as our men and women who are in uniform oftentimes. The bases are bombed, and so I just respect what our good men and women do in State Department, other agencies are doing, but I don't think that staying on that course is the right decision.
Mark is an independent in Columbus, Ohio. Good morning to you. You're on the Washington Journal.
Good morning.
Morning, Mark.
Good morning. Well, my thing is all these senators and politicians seem like they won't let President Obama do his job. And there's a whole lot of things they need to take care of their own states instead of getting in his affairs. And we also have terrorists here that we need to take care of because they did blow up the federal building in Oklahoma.
All right, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. If I understood it correctly, there was some question as to whether or not it's appropriate for politicians to actively